Hello and welcome to The Villain Was Right, the podcast where we look at movies and TV from the villain's perspective and dare to ask, were they really all that bad? I'm your host, Rebecca Reeds.
And I'm your host, Craig Fay.
And this week it is back to school month. We're doing September. It's back to school and we're starting with a classic, Clueless.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen this. You had to have seen this.
I have. I've forgotten large parts of it, but I've definitely seen it.
There are plot points I had forgotten that upon this watch made me kind of go, oh, that was the note. I just went, oh, I don't know. Like I kept having to go, okay, just put that plot point away in your brain. Just bury it deep and don't think about it. This is still a very charming movie.
Remember when you enjoyed this movie?
Shit.
Well, strap in, listeners.
Oh my God. Okay, so if we were to describe this movie, Craig, do you want to take it?
Yeah. So it's sort of like it's if you haven't seen it. It focuses around Cher, right? Alicia Silverstone, who's like sort of this ditzy California, like rich high school student. And like she's popular and pretty and all the rest. And she's got this like ex-step brother, right? Ex-step brother.
Yes.
Ex-step brother who's like hanging around the house and all the rest. And like she kind of, she basically takes this new girl under her wing and like tries to make her popular and all the rest. And she ends up falling in love with Cher tries to set the new girl up with this boy, but the boy likes Cher instead of this girl. And there's a whole thing. And then Cher's also trying to set up all of these teachers together, and basically she's talking her way out of everything all the time, talking her way into better grades. She's manipulating people, and then she comes to this moment where she realizes that doesn't get her what she wants anymore when she fails the driver's test and can't talk her way out of it, and realizes that she's not a good enough person for her ex-stepbrother, who she realizes she has a crush on. And then tries to be a better person. Yeah. Does that pretty much sum it up?
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're obviously going to dive into everything.
And it's also
is this movie
based on Emma? Is the?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I did not. Wow. Oh man, I wish I had that piece of information a week ago.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just feel like I'd have more to say. I'd have maybe some more interesting thoughts or plot points.
Fair enough. But this is like the second high school movie we've covered in a month, because 10 Things I Hate About You, Shakespeare, and this is Emma.
Oh God, we're on a roll.
We're on a roll. Literary.
Can you tell we want to watch light movies? Can you tell that we're just like, you know what? This pandemic's getting long. Let's get something a little baby soft up in here.
Last week's law-abiding citizen.
Woo! Needed a break. Needed a break.
Let's just go with the teenager who violates traffic laws.
Yes,
Let's just
it's fun.
Let's not talk about the trouble with the U.S. judicial system and whether or not it's biased the right way or not. Check out that episode if you want to get in on this. But guys, speaking of having some fun and some light things, we want to talk to you about the sponsor for today's episode, Liquid Death.
Liquid Death.
We're doing the devil horns.
I don't know why I put my arms up. I was like, yeah.
Weirdly enough, you didn't do the devil horns. No. You did the I am not a crook.
Yes. I don't know why I did it like that.
Because you want to have fun, and that's kind of what Liquid Death is. If you don't know what Liquid Death is, it's canned water, everybody. It is water in a tall boy can, and it's actually super cool. You can you can have a lot of fun.
Well, they look like tall boys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They look like tall boys, but they're like that mountain spring water. So, like, honestly, if I had a product like that, I would have punked my brother so many times for beer money. I mean, like, listen, no, I'm going to go buy you beer. Don't worry, I'll come back. Here you go. Enjoy your pate. But truthfully, I do prefer beverages in cans.
Yeah, it's like it stays colder, right? Like there's something about that metal, and it's like, and the other thing about tall boys versus plastic bottles is plastic bottles aren't actually recyclable.
They're liars.
They just end
They
up in
lie to you.
They end up in the ocean. They end up in a fucking turtle's stomach. It's bad news. But so not only are these tall boys actually recyclable, not only do they have these crazy cool designs on them, not only can you punk your friends and everything like that, but they also donate 10% of their profits to cleaning up plastic. So that's like double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, that's what we're all about here, right?
Yeah.
Liquid Death is available nationwide at 7-Eleven and Whole Foods, or you can purchase online at liquiddeath.com. Use the promo code VILLAIN at checkout to get a free koozie 2-pack with a purchase of a case of water. Again, that's liquiddeath.com, promo code VILLAIN for a free koozie with a purchase of a case of water.
Additionally, Liquid Death is also offering free shipping on all their merch, and when you buy 2 or more cases of water at liquiddeath.com. So once again, that's free shipping on merch and also free shipping if you buy 2 or more cases of water at liquiddeath.com. Thanks for sponsoring us, Liquid Death. And now
to the villains.
So
okay. So
Yes.
it feels like we have like a peppering of like a couple of villains to me. Like I think definitely Amber's one. Okay, I think we have to argue that Amber's one. I would argue that most of her teachers, at least for the front part of the movie, she views them as kind of villainous in the sense of like, oh, like I have to kind of like emotionally manipulate this person to get them to do what I want. My grade is unjust. This is not correct. Obviously, the gentleman, what is his name? Elton, I think his name was.
Oh, he's a big villain.
He's a big villain. I would say he's probably the most prominent villain, in which I do think he has a few points, and I think he has a few negative points against him. Certainly.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get into how bad he gets, but I can kind of see why he's upset initially.
Yeah.
I would say that.
And I would agree with all of those. And honestly, like when I watched this movie, I had a really difficult time of picking who the actual villain is.
Okay.
Because you're right, there's lots of like little things, but I think mostly like if you go by the definition, this is not a dictionary definition of villain by any stretch, but just the one we use for this one, where this podcast, where it's like the person who's sort of stopping the main character from accomplishing what they want to do,
yes.
Right? And I feel like the point of this movie is that it is Cher.
Oh yeah.
Like it's she realizes halfway through, or not halfway, or 3/4 through, that the way that she's been doing things isn't the way that's going to get her what she wants.
Yes.
And that's what made it so difficult for me to pick a villain in this, because I think she's sort of her own villain.
Yes.
But then also she's a teenage girl, and she learns from her experiences. And that's kind of all we want from that. So I picked another villain in this, which you didn't get. This is very minor. I think he's in one scene, which is the lawyer that yells at her for screwing up the documents.
Oh, yes. I did not put him down as a villain, but I have that as a note. Yes.
Because he's totally justified.
Yes, because everything he says is true. He's like, you're literally, so he's talking to, what's his name? Josh. Okay, Josh, who is
the timeless Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, is he 20? Is he 40? Is he 60? Who knows? Who knows at this point? Still, always looking great, timeless Paul Rudd. Anyway, so he's been, forming feelings for Cher over the movie. It started at that, I don't know. There's such a part of me that wishes they didn't do the brother plot point. Because it would have made it so much more passable to me. And I know it's so small. It was like, oh, you were married to like his mother for 6 months. And like, he's like, oh, you divorce wives, you don't divorce children. And I'm like, I feel like 6 months, if I'm your kid, you can divorce me. At 6 months, I think that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's strange to me that he's still coming over a lot.
It is very strange. It would have been so much better if it was a neighbor.
Yes! Yes.
Neighbor's kid, someone that you knew like as a child, right? But never got along with.
Yes.
But your dad is taking under his wing or whatever. That works so much better. Because I truly believe that the real villain in this is Josh. I think it's Paul Rudd.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I like where you're going with this, Craig. All right. Yes. Yes, I'm on board for this.
Yeah. But let's get back to the lawyer for a bit.
Oh my God. Yes, we got totally derailed.
because I'm just putting myself in his position. So he's yelling at these kids for screwing up this document preparation for a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. And Josh kind of like stands up for her, right? And goes, she's not an idiot or whatever. Mm-hmm. Just put yourself in that guy's shoes for a minute. He's doing document prep on a very expensive and important case at his boss's house. He's not at the office. He's at his boss's house this work.
It's late.
He's working hard. And this is real legal work that we've said impacts the case largely. And who does he have helping him? A fucking high school teenager.
Yeah.
Daughter of his boss and a college kid with no law background. Interested in law, but no law background. And that's the backup that this guy has to prepare the case. I would be livid.
Yes, absolutely.
I would be yelling at, I would be like, you fucked this up. And you're the only help that I get. I am on board for that guy. That guy has a shit boss in Cher's dad.
Oh, Cher's dad's the worst. He is the worst.
You think so? I thought he was pretty redeemable in a lot of this. But.
Oh, really? I just find as soon as it's like, you don't know... like he's super rude to all of his like service work. You know what I mean? Like anybody that's like a maid or like even Cher, she's like, oh, well, I can't remember what it was. It was something about like,
oh, you don't speak Mexican.
And she's like, no, you race. Anyway, yeah. So I totally agree with the lawyer popping off on them because he even says to Josh, he's like, listen, like, I've just been watching you basically play footsie all night. We're working on a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. What are you doing? And he's right, because immediately Josh goes up the stairs and makes out with her immediately after telling him, no, you're wrong, man. You don't know.
You don't know her. I just want to be that lawyer. And he goes home to his like wife, and his wife's like, how was your day? He goes, I don't know. I think I fucked up this case pretty badly, and I might have told 2 teenage siblings to make out. I'm starting to think maybe the law isn't for me.
Can you imagine he turns around, though, and sees that? How justified you would feel in that moment? You're like, yeah, I was right. And he is right.
Yeah. But you had a few there, which like I really want to get into. So like the teachers.
Okay, so the teachers. Okay, so this idea of like, so did Cher deserve a C? Yes. If anything, that was so generous upon that teacher's behalf. Okay.
For the debate, yeah.
For the debate, I'm like, this girl has not given us one good debate the whole time. She is... Yeah, when Amber pops off on her and she's like, I don't know what you expect me to do. Like, I don't know how to rebuttal that. I'm like, I think that's kind of fair. Like, this is anarchy. This is madness. She's talking about dinner parties and fucking picnics or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Inviting more people. I'm like, okay, like I get like the whole point is that you're nice. Kind of.
Well, and I think she made some good points there. Like,
oh, yes.
Like, I think the thought of her debate is correct. She's got the right thing, but you're right. She didn't prepare at all.
No, she's got her.
That's a great metaphor. The dinner party is a great metaphor, but then you need to actually back it up.
Gum on her finger, which we all know now not to do ever.
I missed that part. But
ever. Yeah. Okay. No, yeah. No, we don't do that. Just gum on her finger, just like la 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 la. And then, yes, of course, if you're somebody that's like, okay, I actually care about how I'm going to do, you're going to be a little pissed. Also, I would argue that Amber gets way more bullied than she bullies.
Yeah, I seem to remember Amber being a bigger character, and I don't know if it's just because like I occasionally saw an episode of the TV show.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
But like she kind of was just in the background, sort of making snarky comments, but no worse than Cher and her friends.
Oh, yeah. Like, they go off, right? They're constantly going off. And she's like, Cher has this concept of like, oh, like people people are, jealous of us. Like, that's why we're best friends, because people are jealous.
And that's a very fun, and that's the one thing we have in common.
Yes,
is that
people
I was like,
are jealous of
it's
us.
very self-aware of you.
But yeah, the teachers, I'm like, these teachers are getting like run down by this woman. Like, she's coming in, she's arguing them down. Like, it's so wild to me. I mean, although with debate, you could argue you have earned that grade.
I think if you could,
if the grade is for debate and you can argue your way to a higher grade, then yes.
that all makes sense. I would agree with that. But like, yeah. Oh, with gym class too. I'm not over arguing a higher grade at gym class, even though she doesn't fucking participate.
Oh, yes.
And Rebecca, you're looking at me, solid C gym class.
It's solid C, yeah.
Oh, man. But did I show up and did I try? Abso-fucking-lutely. Can I just not throw a ball? You bet your life I can.
Oh, you look like you'd throw a ball, Craig.
I mean, I'll grant you that I look like I could. That's like rolling up on somebody's front lawn and being like, you see this car that's sitting here in the tall grass? That looks like it can run. It cannot. That is up on blocks.
Also, I'm sorry, what's wrong with a C? What's wrong with a C? Okay? She's 16. This isn't senior year. Okay? It's probably fine.
Yeah.
Just try a little harder next time.
Yeah. Will your dad have to pay a little extra to get you into college? Probably. Are you going to go to a serious college anyway? Probably not. Like, anyway.
Yeah, and she also lies to get the teachers where she wants them at, right?
It's very manipulative. It's very, very bad. It's not and that's why I'm happy that she learns the lesson not to fuck with people that way.
Yes.
Because if you take that lesson and continue it on through life, you become a horrible person.
Mm-hmm. Without question.
Yes.
I mean...
If this was an adult doing these things, I don't know, someone named Emma perhaps, you would be, we would be having a different conversation.
Yes, certainly. I mean, what makes this movie charming is that it's a teenager.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like we're goofing off. We're recklessly running a lot of stop signs. We're
driving
illegally, which is somehow a passing conversation with her father. And not really like okay, you have no longer any access to any of the vehicles, which is what it would have been in my house without question.
Yes.
The hammer would have get swung down.
What do you mean you're driving without a license?
Yes.
It wouldn't even occur to me that I could take the car out, having not...
The audacity. Like, I can't... Yes, you're exactly right. I can't imagine waking up and going, yeah, it's fine if I get... Well, I guess it's money. It must be the money,
You're sure.
Right? You're just like, oh, well, this will be fine no matter what I do because I have money.
Right. Yeah. It happens all the time. Like in Toronto, people get like pulled over driving like Maseratis and like, these like high-end Ferraris, Lamborghinis, that sort of thing without insurance. They're driving them without insurance. Like then they're getting caught going like, like 200 kilometers an hour on the highway. They get pulled over.
As you do, you know?
But it's money because if you can afford a fucking Lamborghini, you don't care if you total it. Right? Like it's but
if they catch you doing that speed, they take your car.
They take your car. Absolutely.
They take your car.
So why have insurance? Like but you're absolutely right. It's this mindset of, well, why would I need that? Because I could just buy more. Right?
Oh, yes.
It's like whenever I think I'm not gonna pay the extra $12 for Apple Care, I'm just gonna be real good with my phone for 4 years. Smart here.
Now, if we're arguing that Cher is actually the villain of this movie, and thus we have to argue whether she is correct or not,
right?
I will make the argument that those two teachers are freaking adorable together. They're so cute,
True.
and I love them together. And they clearly was a good match.
I would agree.
It was thoughtful.
Yes, and it's good for their happiness, but I think the motivations behind it are somewhat insulting to an adult. The idea, the idea that someone's being hard on you because they're not getting laid is such a simplistic view of things.
Oh, yes, for sure. And also conversely, like how do you have that conversation with your children? Like, oh, how did you meet mom? Well, okay, I gave one of my students a C, and she got really involved really quick.
Yeah, and we invited them to our wedding. It was a weird choice in retrospect.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up. I was cry laughing when that scene came up because I was just like, what universe is this where these two teachers are like, yeah, just bring down the whole class. We don't have family.
Yeah.
You and I don't have family. We're just going to bring in all the children that that just ignore us, by the way. Sure. Both of those teachers just actively ignored by these hyper privileged students that sit on to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, and it's so clear that it's from the high schooler's perspective because when you're in high school, these teachers seem to loom so large in your life and have such influence on you. Yes. And then like you look at it the other way and you go like, yeah, but they have, 30 students a class, 4 classes a day over like a 30-year career.
Yeah.
And you go, you're nothing to them. You're certainly not, I'm inviting you to my wedding meaningful. You're like this year's crop, Oh, yeah. And like, I feel like I'm sure there are certain students that you have like a connection with, or you're like, okay, like I feel like I really helped this person or whatever. But what's that? Like 3 people? Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You put them at the singles table, you're good. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, there's like a whole.
People who weren't even in their classes, I think. Who just needed to show up there because they had conversations. And I also just have to say about, was it Miss Geist? Mm-hmm. It's like, they're like, she's in desperate need of a makeover, right? And I was like, how about probably not? How about when you get older and you're an adult and you have real responsibilities, like being the most stylish and fuckable person at work is no longer a priority. You know what I mean?
She looked so comfortable. I was like, wow, look how comfortable you are in your workplace.
Right.
That's so ideal.
And you're a teacher.
Yes. You're not here to, I don't know. Anytime I saw teachers like really, really go for it, really dress up, I was always like, this is high school, right? Like this is, the rest of us are wearing jeans. You can relax. It's fine.
Yeah. Like a tie, and you're like, oh shit, is there an assembly today? Why is everyone
you got a performance review
Yeah.
this morning? What's going on? Okay, and I really, really, really want to talk about Ty, of course.
Yes.
Okay. Because the idea that Ty needed to be changed at all is just
offensive.
It's offensive to me as someone that dressed like that. Okay. Not all the time. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I think, Craig, if you remember, I think you've caught me in a few flannels in my day.
Yeah. Also, yes, that was that like not only that, but that was the style at the time.
This is a look.
Like, yes, it wasn't like the popular girl look, but it's fucking grunge.
Exactly.
And honestly, this is 96. Kurt Cobain like just died.
Yeah. And if you ask my genuine opinion, I find those knee highs that she keeps wearing are cringeworthy to me. I do not care for them.
Knee high boots?
No, her socks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
No, not with a strappy.
Yeah. No, but Ty is, and that's where I think like she goes real wrong. Cher goes real wrong, where it's like, this is a girl who is perfectly fine with who she is. She is a burnout. She's asking for Coke on the first day of school.
She's like, oh my gosh.
You guys have Coke? That's great.
That escalated so quickly to me. I love that.
She's interested in what's his face? I'm looking at the cast for The Breakfast Club and wondering why that doesn't make sense. Breckenmeyer is like the Travis Breckenmeyer, right? The other burnout guy. I was like, clearly you guys hit it off.
Oh, immediately.
Just be that person.
Yes. Okay, and this is a lesson that I feel like we have all learned, right? Which is, okay, I'm going to try and I don't know, like go for somebody either like super, super different, but I'm like forcing myself for some reason.
Because this is what I think I should want according to other people.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's so wrong to do. It's like, it's all about the vibe. How do you vibe with this guy? I'm wearing a really colorful tie-dye shirt right now. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. Yeah, like you have to just feel that person. And she was so forced. I actually kind of feel bad for both of those people until Elton like pops off, until he's like a total fucking dick and leaves her in a parking lot, which is wild. But neither of those people wanted to be with each other to start.
No.
And Cher pushed and forced and pushed and forced and manipulated. Although I will say Elton being like, she's like, but you put a picture of Ty up in your locker. And he's like, yeah, the picture you took. And I'm like, I don't think that translates the way you think it does.
I don't think it does.
I think that's honestly a notch below creepy. Like, it's just one notch below, but it's real fucking tight. It's really tight.
Why do you have these pictures of supermodels in your locker? Oh, because Fran Lebowitz took them. Like, I just really appreciate the photographer.
Yes, like if it was like a group shot or
I'm
just
sorry
on
if you're
her
a photographer.
holding a rose. She's literally holding a rose in a bush. I'm like, oh my God, the frustration. Oh,
This isn't the same. This isn't the thing. This isn't the message that you think it is.
no.
You miss right there. But like another sinister thing that Cher does to Ty was when what's his face isn't interested in her. Elton, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. When Elton isn't interested in her, and it's like this news breaks, she goes, "Oh my God, is it because of my hips?" And I was like, "Fuck, Cher, you've given this girl body dysmorphia in a week." She showed up and she was fine with who she was.
Yes.
And was like ordering Coke off of strangers.
Which, okay, we could say she needed some assistance. You know what I mean? A little pullback.
Right. And you can
Maybe
be
let's not
different
smoke
versions.
pot during the day at school. Let's pull it back a bit.
You can be different, and you can feel free to be different versions of yourself. But
Yes.
like clearly the stress and the expectation in that short weeks, this is high school, so this has to be weeks,
Yes.
was so intense that she suddenly is worried about how she's presenting her body. And I'm like, ugh.
Oh, yeah,
that's
that's a backslide. Like you've not gone to a good place.
There's a difference between learning how to put mascara on
Yes.
and feeling bad about your body.
Oh, absolutely. When I am rooting for a woman to go for the man that spits, that's like, yeah, like that's a whole other level. Like it's really, we're digging. But I'm on board. I am. They got me on board.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it. Because he's kind of a goof. I don't agree with everything that guy does, but I'm like, you know what? It works.
He's lovable.
He's lovable. He's got a nice smile. He's kind of like...
Yes, I'm still on this spit thing. Hard pause here for a second.
Yeah.
What?
What? Like in the sense, like he was like... Am I confusing this with Breakfast Club now? Am I having a mind melt?
No, yeah.
Yeah, I think I am actually. Because in Breakfast Club, that's what he does. He spits in his own mouth. And I'm like, that's disgusting.
Oh, gross. Okay. But like, is this like guys who like spit on the sidewalk kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Spit on the sidewalk, spit in your own mouth is also a thing. I think this character was also horking at some moments. I think I fused these two kids because they both have long hair and both spit, but they both do spit.
Right.
Okay.
And it's not, okay. I agree.
Oh.
And I've had debates with people about whether or not it's rude. And they're like, well, it's like, it's spit, it's on the ground. I'm like, I guess so. Like, it doesn't bother me that there's spit on the sidewalk, but I still just think it's gross.
Oh, it's also just like a noise thing. It's like
oh, that's gross too. Yeah.
Like I just, oh my God, please
Stop.
Yeah. Like just get, I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying this type of guy, I'm like, this doesn't appeal to me, but I still like this. I'm like, I'm still rooting for this to happen.
Fair enough.
Actively, they made him charming enough that I was like, all right, we can make this. And he's still like, a burnout and still makes jokes and like, accepts awards for the most absences, and you're still kind of like, well, yeah.
Yeah, the tardy speech. I'd like to thank my parents who never drove me. And
Yes.
I was like, that guy's fucking funny. I get it now. I get it. That guy would be fun to hang out with.
Yes. Point being, Ty was already cool to start, and there was no reason to change that. There's no reason that every person has to wear a mini skirt. Looks great on you. Keep doing it. Keep rocking it. If you like, I'm not here to tell you how to dress, right? But you should dress the way you want to dress.
Right.
Dude, her fucking, oh my God, her little computer, the fucking computer program was killing
Tells
me.
you how to dress in the morning?
Yes, yes. And the fact that she said, she's like, I don't trust mirrors. I only take Polaroids. I was like, I don't know why I like something about that. I know it's super wasteful. Okay, that's insanely wasteful. You should never do this ever.
Also, I feel like there's more that can go wrong with a Polaroid than mirror.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
well, okay, I would
like
say
lighting and
lighting and
focus
like how you're standing and like whatever, like your angle, of course, the angle of the photo. But I would argue that there's a lot of mirrors that they play some
lie to you?
some tricky shit. I would honestly, this has happened to me a couple of times, and I swear to God, this is. I'm like, some of these mirrors in like these department stores and stuff, they alter them a little bit. Like you
little
look
fun house.
Yeah, like it's slanted, it's tilted in a nice way.
Oh, like
so
to
you
give you the
look a
top.
little thinner. You're like, oh, this top's a little nicer on me, and you get it home, and you're like, what the fuck happened here? Okay, because you get in front of your real ass mirror in your bathroom with your bad lighting, and you're like, oh, this is what this is for real right now.
I'm just picturing Rebecca rolling up to a department store or like clothing store or something like that with her own mirror in a wagon. Like Rebecca's real mirror. This one tells the fucking truth.
I'm showing it to other women. I'm like, come try Rebecca's real mirror. They think I'm selling mirrors.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's like is there anything we can help you with? And you're like, yeah, come in here and look at the difference between these two. You liar.
You're monsters. I'm telling you, man, there's something about the Polaroid thing that like first I was like, that's funny, but I was like,
Yeah, and you know, honestly, in the age of digital cameras, it makes sense. I'll say it, Rebecca. There's been many times where I've been out a mirror and like I think someone's shit in my hair or something like that, and I turn on the rear view camera and I look up in my head. I'm like, nope, we're good. Or like,
oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh God, I thought you were gonna start talking about how I got shit on coming to your house that one time. That was where my mind immediately went.
I know, and that's the example I used, and I immediately realized I was talking to you. That's a villain of the week from a previous episode. Go back and check that out.
Yes,
if you want.
I just got shit on the head.
Yeah. I do want to talk about though how Josh, I think, is the real villain of this movie.
Yes. Take the wheel, Craig. I want to hear all about it. I love it.
I don't have a lot on here except to say that in my sort of take of Cher kind of being her own villain and getting in her own way, and then figuring out how to be a better person.
Yes.
I would say Josh is a big step in the wrong direction there. Okay. Where she's like, I need to be better to people. I need to be generous. I need to, get things on my own terms without talking myself into it. She's on a good path at this. Mm-hmm. And I feel like dating your college-aged ex-stepbrother.
It's a lot. It's a long list.
Yeah.
It's one too many words.
It's just a bit of a speed bump. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I don't know, because she's about standards the whole time. Mm-hmm. And, like, I don't date high school guys because, like, they're losers or whatever. Fine. I'm sure they are. You're in high school. But also, the college guy who's dating the high school girl is the fucking loser.
Oh, yes. Yes. Especially when you see him. Now, not that I liked his college girlfriend, like the woman he was hanging out with in college.
Okay.
I found her a little abrasive. But that doesn't mean you just jump ship and you're like, well, time for something a little more simple, I think. Remember when women didn't have any experience? I liked that. Let's go back to that.
Yeah. That college girlfriend, I had no opinion on her because I think she's in one scene. But I just imagine that she's like, oh, my boyfriend left me for his younger high school ex stepsister. Bullet dodge there.
Yeah.
Bullet dodged.
My God, that title's even too long for Pornhub, man.
Right.
Like, that is a lengthy resume.
Yeah.
My thing with her was basically just I can't take anyone who quotes Hamlet seriously. Like if it's in like a serious, I just can't. It pulls me out of like you've gone too far for me, I guess.
I mean, you know my thoughts on Shakespeare. So.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah,
Got a lot of hate mail for that from some big. Not a lot, really. Just I think most people are cool. But yeah,
and most people were cool.
But like also, and he's that guy too, right? Like he's sitting by the pool reading Nietzsche.
Yeah.
And you're just like, no, man. Do you know how pretentious you have to be sitting poolside reading nihilist philosophy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'll allow to say to thy own self be true. Like, just throw yourself out of the car. Everybody even knows that line. Like, you don't even have to be smart to know that line. You know what I mean? To drop it. That's what I think I found offensive about it. She's like, well, you know. And it's like, okay, yeah, I think we all know. Even the girl in the back knows.
Yeah.
Because she watched the movie.
And that's the thing. That's one of those lines that's so common. You don't like. I think if you're doing like your notes at the end of the essay, you don't even have to include that because they're just like, yeah. We know. Where that's from.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You don't have to quote like, what's the source on that?
Okay.
He's a loser.
Yes.
You can do better, Cher.
Oh God. He also like I don't know. I think because it's Paul Rudd, I've got my blinders. It's hard. It's
Paul
harder.
Rudd is very charming.
He's so charming. I'm like, oh, she is 16. But like, I also think because this movie's from 95, it's like I attach a different part of my life to it.
Yeah.
So like when I was in it was like, oh, isn't that cool? And now when you're older, you're like, way less cool, actually. Because I was I dated a college guy when I was in high school, and I was like, and I was 16, actually. So exactly the same. And I was like, oh, like, this is great. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, that probably wasn't great. Some of that wasn't good.
Right.
So, I mean, we're just missing the second part of this movie, which is, oh my God, what the fuck? Paul Rudd just like fucking not calling, going out to keggers, manipulating, whatever.
Yeah.
That wasn't I'm sorry, I'm not speaking to my experience. That wasn't like a list of things that I was pissed about.
Just Cher stopping one day. I'm sure a successful lawyer in her own right at that point.
Yes.
Just stopping and thinking, remember when you dated your ex stepbrother? She goes, that was pretty fucked up. Not gonna say that out loud ever again.
Oh yeah, the parents fighting at that wedding would be insane.
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh, just flowers everywhere. Oh, the bouquet.
Oh, she catches it?
Okay, when they're throwing the bouquet, I don't understand. I still to this day, okay, first of all, I'm this asshole that refuses when I go to weddings. I won't. I'm not catching no bouquet, okay? I'm not going. I'm not in the huddle. I'm not clamoring for this thing because I find it very, very weird and it makes me feel icky. Okay, I'm not saying you shouldn't. Okay, I'm not saying it's gross if you do. Yeah. Okay, I'm just saying personally, for my personal self, it makes me feel icky.
You know what makes the girdle or whatever is
the
real. What is it? The garter.
The girdle. Yeah. The garter. Yes.
The garter.
Yeah. No. But like, especially when it's like these women are all like these girls are all in high school. Yeah. I'm like, what? Like they're fighting each other for it, for flowers they think might be magic. Like it's this weird thing, like you're gonna be the next. If Cher was the next person married, I would be horrified.
Yes, she's 16.
If she was the next person married out of that group of people, I would be so sad. I would be so sad for her. I'd be sad for whoever's married. I'd be sad for everybody, her dad, everybody. And I'm not sad for her dad at all. And that would make me a little sad for her dad.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's a weird tradition. All right. I need to hear this because, like, You said that you have a defense of Elton?
Oh, no. Okay, here's my only thing. Okay, here's the thing that just truly bothered me about it was that he was not interested in Ty at all. Never did he claim to be.
No.
Never did he even brush up against or suggest, okay, that, you know, they would be together. When they go outside the party and they're arranging rides, he's right. Okay. She's great. Ty immediately addresses and goes, oh, you're so close. You're going to my house, fellow lady. Let's go together. She called that herself.
Yes.
So therefore, quit trying to make everybody's rides longer. Okay. And just get in the car with your friend and stop trying to play matchmaker for 1 second when you got to be back home in 20 minutes. Okay.
Trust me.
Time is of the essence. Okay. You were just in a panic to leave, and now you're like, well, no, you got to take this girl. You got to. After one no, it's a no, Cher. Yeah. No is no, which you're going to learn in a second that this guy doesn't very much know either. Okay, which is, oh my God. Okay, so as soon as he likes Cher, which
he's been telegraphing the whole movie.
Yes,
like even at the beginning, he's giving her a massage so she gets a good job or whatever. Like in a flirty way, there's actually like sustained contact between them even before they introduce who the character is. Like he sits behind her in the class and you see him like patting her on the back and doing stuff at the beginning of the movie before they even tell you who he is.
Yes. And my argument is it's not wrong for him to like her.
Right.
Now,
right.
Where the needle goes off, okay, where this absolutely pops off, and I, of course, no longer agree with this trash monster person, is as soon as he starts accosting her in the car.
Right.
And is like, well, of course, we're supposed to be together. We're from the same tax bracket or whatever fucking bougie shit he says to her. Do you know who my father is? Which is so funny because that really has different connotations depending on how much money your family makes. Because if you're poor and you say, do you know who my father is? That is suddenly a terrifying threat. It is immediately terrifying.
Old Papa Reed's gonna fuck you up.
You better watch out, son. He's coming. Yes. Oh, yeah. No, if you're poor and you're saying, do you know who my father is? Yeah. Shut it down. Run away from that person. Something very bad is about to happen to you. Okay. It's a very empty thing. I feel like, the higher you get, it's just different. It's more like we're going to sue you or we're going to make your life hard or whatever. If you're poor, it's like, my dad's going to kill you. Do you know who my father is? Old crazy-eyed Reeds. I'm just kidding. My dad doesn't have a crazy eye, nor is he a violent person. But I'm just saying. Fucking wild. Yeah, so...
Crazy-eyed Reeds.
Why do I feel like as soon as I said it...
It's like, do you know who I do a podcast with? Go Crazy-eyed Reeds.
I swear to God, the second it left my lips, I went, oh my God, that's what they're going to call me. I swear, the second it left my lips, I was like, fuck. Oh, why did I say it? I have the same last name.
No, I just gave myself a nickname.
Fuck. You know when you do that? And you're just like, oh, this is here forever now.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Oh my God. So yes, obviously, like as soon as he starts, like once, okay. It's one no, Elton. It's one.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where we end. And that's where you should have ended. Instead of being like, come on, we're like just all over the place. And then, and I think I would say either equally as important or more important, don't leave her in a parking lot.
Yes.
Holy shit. The only reason she's not dead is this is a comedy. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, because she gets mugged immediately. Yeah, I will say in his defense there, she refuses to get back in the car, which I'm not going to fault her for, because that's a dangerous situation for her as well, is what she's like, it's weird. And then I would say, Paul Rudd, it's very sweet. He shows up. He's He's got a girl. You know?
Okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm just not even gonna paint that as sweet because I gotta
It's
be
the bare
honest with you.
minimum for sure.
It's to me. I would literally do that for like an acquaintance. If an acquaintance called me and was like, "Listen, for some reason you're the only phone number I remembered. I am alone. I got mugged. I'm in this parking lot." I'm coming.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Probably even somebody I dislike. I'd be like, all right, I'm on my way. Like, fuck.
As I said, bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
But it's painted as this like big chivalrous look. He's willing to go out of his way to help you, kind of thing. And like it's nice, and I would be grateful to whatever person did that to me.
I wouldn't
but
be mad.
You're right.
I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, for sure. But I think, you know what's notable to me is I feel like when Ty turns around and she kind of gets mean with Cher.
Does she get
I don't
mean,
even
though?
think. Okay, here's my thing. I just feel like, and I want to defend this moment because I feel like the movie paints it as like, oh, like they're being mean to each other. They're a bit like not necessarily villains, but kind of we're brushing up against that, right?
Right.
And it's just kind of like, oh no, Cher's just mad that she turned Ty into her.
Yeah, and that's
it.
for sure.
That's all it is. She just got pissed that she got turned into her, and now she's like, "Oh, is this what I'm like?"
Yeah, and that's her big turning moment, right?
Yes.
That and failing the test.
And that guy absolutely correct to fail her test and not
Yes.
give her another chance and tell her that I am the king of this fucking place. Oh, yum, yum, yum. That was another small villain that I was on board for.
Yeah,
Okay.
barely a villain at all because you're like, yes, safe roads for everybody, please.
Well, yes, absolutely. But I think there's a point where people are like, oh, maybe he's going a bit too far. He's like, you have to pass through me kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? She needs to be told that. She needs to be told no a little bit.
That when you hit a car, almost run over a cyclist and does she run a stoplight?
I will say
You fail.
he should have pulled over a little faster. We need to go back to that car and figure out who the driver is because we can't just leave a note. I'm a driver instructor.
Yes. Yeah, I think the point at which you sideswipe a parked car, your driver's test is over.
Absolutely.
I think that's fair to say. I think that's not a controversial statement. I think we can all get on board with that.
Now, to get to, I think we would we wouldn't like ourselves if we didn't talk about Dion and Murray. We got to.
Oh, yeah.
We have to. They're essential. Okay, they're essential. They're hilarious. They're adorable. They're wrong for each other. You know what I just feel like there is something to say of like when we get to the end of the movie, Cher's like, oh, they don't know that we know that when they're
very
alone,
sweet.
they're very sweet. They do this all kind of for show or whatever. But even for show, guys, no. Also, don't call me woman.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair hill to die on.
Yeah. Don't call me woman. I also disagreed with her freaking out about him shaving his head. I'm like, it's his head.
Yeah, I agree.
It's his head. Don't call his mother.
No. She'll find out eventually.
Yeah.
You're in high school.
He has to go home at a moment.
But the funniest thing about that was like he was getting in trouble for shaving his head. And I was like, did he not have a shaved head before? I don't know if I was just remembering Donald Faison from
Scrubs?
From Scrubs.
Yeah.
And like
yeah,
I just
yeah.
kept substituting that in my head. Or he was wearing hats and I just assumed that he had like a shaved head. So when he was shaving his head, I was like, was I paying this little attention in the movie where I didn't realize that he had a shave?
It's like that episode in The Office where they're like, does he have a mustache?
Yes. So I was pretty sure he had a shaved head.
I can't remember.
Yeah, no, they're great. You're right. They're
Yes.
bad for each other.
They're bad for each other, but they're so great. Like I love the scene when they get on the highway accidentally.
Yeah.
Because also I honestly don't like driving that. I understand that whole scene and I'd be like screaming the whole time. But also
I do drive, and I've done that before.
None of these people should have licenses. None of them.
No.
None of them are ready. None of them are ready for the cars they're driving.
No.
That's the other thing, too, that I find in Toronto. I think, like you kind of touched on that earlier, which is these super nice cars driving around. Sometimes, a lot of the times they're driven by like Like they're 18, they're 20
Yeah,
year olds.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
'cause their family has so much money, it doesn't matter. But it's like that person doesn't know how to drive that car yet.
No.
They don't, because it's a different style of drive. It's a different
Yes.
techniques. Like you have to do different things. This person can't drive a Honda. Okay, like
Yes.
what are you doing right now?
Call me. Maybe this is just my personal experience. Call me biased, but everyone should start driving on a 1995 Plymouth Voyager minivan.
Minivan.
Yeah, no, learn to drive a fucking minivan
Woo!
because you know where your fucking corners are. You got enough power to get yourself out of problems if you need to, but you're not going anywhere fast in that. And you better believe that you're learning how to control that thing on ice. You know what I mean? Because that back end's gonna, if you're not careful with it, it's gonna go out from behind you. Anyway,
I'm surprised we haven't heard more minivan stories.
oh, we had nothing but minivan. There was a weird coincidence where we ended up with 2 minivans because like one car broke down and then like my grandpa died and so we got his van. So we had 2 vans going at the same time. Fucking great. Driving everybody. That's what you want in high school.
You want to drive all your friends everywhere.
Exactly.
Yes. You want to be the driver. Oh my God. Oh, did you have anything else, Craig?
No, man, that's it. I mean, the lawyer was my big one. I think she's her own. That's who I
Oh, I had one more point for Amber.
Yeah.
It is not a crime to buy the same dress as somebody else.
Absolutely not.
Unless you're in I mean, I would say I would have given it a couple more days in between, but still, I don't think that's that big of a villainous move or whatever. And also, it doesn't work if you're like, oh, well, that's so last season if you wore it yesterday.
Yeah.
So
That happened to me at the comedy club where I saw a girl wearing the shirt I had worn the previous show.
oh my God.
Like it was like a nice linen short sleeve shirt and she had like, tucked it in and stuff. But I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the same shirt.
Honestly, that happens to me all the time
And you know
with
what?
men.
Good
So,
look though.
Yeah,
it's a good look.
It's a good look.
It's a good look. She pulled it off. I pulled it off. It's all good. Yeah, that's it for me. What do you think? Time for the definitive rating of how good our villain is. What do you got?
Okay, so I'm ranking Elton.
Yeah.
Because I found he was the biggest villain.
Sure.
Okay, and I'm going to give him, we're doing traffic violations for this ranking. So from a rolling stop to running a red light, I'm going to give Elton a brake check, which is like, yes, she was following you too closely, but what you did was just mean. That was just rude, man.
Yeah.
That was really mean. I don't like it.
Couldn't agree more. I did I did Josh because I think he's the true villain of this.
I like
'cause
that.
He's a fucking
Yeah.
loser. So on a scale from totally to whatever, I'm going to give Josh an as if. As
I don't know why that tickles me so much. Sorry, continue.
as if you should interrupt your journey of self-improvement by dating your ex-stepbrother.
I love it.
And that's what we got for that week. And we will get to our heroes and villains of the week in a minute. But first, a few ways you can help out the podcast. So guys, if you're not aware, oh my God, we have merch. You can get our logo on shit. And we also have put new designs in there all the time related to the movies that we're covering that week. So if you're listening to this right now, the chances are we've got some Clueless merch in our merch store along with our own designs, and you can check that out at our TeePublic store at vwrstore.fromsuperheroes.com. Check that out. And as well, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/thevillainwasright. Every month we have audience choice where our patrons get to vote on what shows they want us to cover. And guys, I think this month it's gonna be it's looking like it's heading one way, but I don't think we have the official results.
Oh,
as I'm saying this.
I'm excited.
For our back to school month, so you can check that out. We also do 2 bonus episodes every month. Rebecca has a pick. I have a pick. This month for me, it's Mission Impossible 3. So come check that out if you want to hear us talk about Mission Impossible 3. And guys, if you just want to get in touch with us.
As always, you can follow us at VWR Podcast on Twitter, Villain Was Right on Facebook. And if you want to email us, we want to hear your suggestions, questions, comments, concerns. Please email us at villainwasright@gmail.com. And now it is time for our heroes and villains of the week. What do you got first, Craig?
Yeah, so a bit of a personal one here. My hero of the week is the COVID-19 vaccine, everybody.
Woo! You just coughed through that.
I know. Just
Vaccine.
it worked. In all seriousness, if you have not gotten your vaccine yet, if for whatever reason the overwhelming scientific evidence that it is safe and it is effective and the big societal pressures for you to go get it have not convinced you, perhaps a personal anecdote will, because during the last couple weeks, I absolutely had some close contact exposure to somebody who tested positive for COVID. And I was double vaccinated. We were in a house together. The windows were sealed. We didn't have masks on. And he tested positive, and me and the other person that were in that house did not.
Yeah.
Both of us vaccinated, and we had very close contact with each other. There is no doubt in my mind that if I had not been vaccinated, I would have caught COVID. And the difference between it was I was mildly inconvenienced. I had to go get 2 nasal swabs over about a week apart or whatever. But I didn't have to isolate. I had to wear my mask, take those precautions or whatever, but they were like, you're good. He had to call an ambulance.
Jesus.
Right? So the difference in those two things is so extreme to me. And like everybody who was vaccinated around him is perfectly fine now. And I will say this person was not vaccinated. It is very tempting to make that person the villain. But I honestly do think that they had a medical reason that they weren't vaccinated. Yeah. And they had taken some very extreme precautions in terms of getting tests before they came and wearing masks and limiting contact and stuff like that. But it's just like, that's the thing. It's going to fail us at some point, right? All these checks, just get it. It's worth it. Go get it. That's it. That's it. Oh. That's my hero of the week. Hero of the week.
Woo!
The vaccine.
Yes. Yes, we are pro-vaccine podcast. For me, much lighter, a little lighter on my side, I guess. I just wanted to tell a quick story about when I first got my driver's license.
Yeah.
And I might have already talked about it on the podcast, but it feels so in tune with this movie that I have to tell it. So basically, like I'm nervous. I don't like driving. You will know I don't have a license right now. I have a G1. If you want to know,
learner's permit.
Yeah, learner's permit. Yes, that's right. We have nobody would know what a G1 is. That's right. I forgot about that. Anyway, I have a learner's permit. I'm 30. I have a learner's permit. Anyway, but when I did originally, I did at one point have my license when I was a teenager. And I had taken like driver's ed, of course. And like there was this package you could get where you could basically go out with your driver's ed teacher 1 hour before he would drive you around. You would do everything. And then you would be able to use that car to get your license, which amazing, right? But also he's like, we're going to get you booked in right in the AM. Because apparently... And I believe this 100% because I know they've done studies on this on different professions. Mm-hmm. You want to go either right in the morning or right after lunch because that's when people are happiest. So I'm like first one in, bang, bang, let's go, right? But I'm nervous as hell. And it had just snowed a bunch. So... I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't even technically have to parallel park. He was like, pretend to parallel park beside this snowbank. And I did. And he said, close enough. That's what he said. He said, close enough. But the main point of this was, and the most shocking thing to me, I cannot believe this, is it's we have to turn into the driver's ed. Like it's behind a mall in Lindsay, basically. So there's this one stop sign or there's one stoplight where it's like when they give you the flashing hand for people walking and then it's about to turn yellow and then to red, right? Well, I see this hand going, but on this particular light, for whatever reason, it like gives you forever. Okay, like this hand's blinking forever. So I'm coming up to this light and I'm slowing down and I'm slowing down and I'm slowing down. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to get anything too close to call, you know what I mean? So I'm like slowing down. I get there and it's still not, it's like just turning yellow. So I speed up.
Oh no.
I'm like, all right, well and do I run a red light? Absolutely. I absolutely hard run a red light. Okay. And we get to the end, and I'm fucking killing myself. In my head, I'm dying because I'm like, I ran a red light. Like, you fail. Okay, you fail. Okay, you can't run a red light during your driver's test. Okay, it's automatic, right? We pull in.
Running a red light's a huge red flag.
Oh yeah. Yeah, dude. I fucking pull in, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just waiting for him to be like, okay, you fail. He's like, all right. So, not everything was perfect. And he's like, I know you ran that red light, but I can tell you're just nervous, so I'm going to give it to you anyway. What? That man should be fired. Fired. There's no way I should have gotten my license that day, but I did it. Yeah, victory.
Unsafe drivers on the road, everybody.
Well, you'll all be happy to know I'm not on the road anymore, so... But that's been it for us, guys. As always, you can follow me at Rebecca Reads on any platform of your choosing.
Yeah, and you can follow me at Craig Fay Comedy on Facebook or Twitter. And that does it for us this week. Next week, Back to School Month continues with The Breakfast Club, the movie we confused this one for. Can you tell it in our head at the same time? And that's it for us this week. Next week, Back to School Month continues with The Breakfast Club. Until then, this is The Villain Was Right, reminding you not to date your ex-stepbrother.
The Villain Was Right was produced by Andrew Ivamy for the From Superheroes Network. For more great podcasts like this, as well as YouTube series, webcomics, and so much more, visit FromSuperheroes.com.